tell, it's okay to leave your images as RGBs, in other words, straight out of camera, RGB color space files, and just place them, after you process them in Photoshop, after you clean them up or adjust their levels and saturation or do whatever you wish to do to them in Photoshop within reason for the sake of the brief. But just saving them as an RGB is fine. You could convert them, right? But you don't need to. This is the point here. InDesign will convert them if you tell the export to PDF process to do that. So you do need to have them in CMYK when you send it to the printer. It's just how you get them there. So here we go. So there's no need to convert photographs from RGB to CMYK before placing into InDesign. And the best way to demonstrate this is to show you an example, and we're going to then do what we call a pre-flight check of the PDF that we've created in Acrobat before sending to the printer. Again, this is only things that you need to do if you're managing your own kind of PDF process and you're not using the output preset of a PDF system that's supplied to you by the printer. So this is just to double check in case you're not sure. So let's go ahead and we're going to firstly just show you the color space of the images that I've got in this current document, and then we're going to export it, and we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to convert it to CMYK at the export stage, and we're going to leave one unconverted, then we're going to convert it after the export, and we'll just show you the difference. So if I just go to my document now, we can see we've got my little B image here. There it is, and I'll open it up, show the links. All these images in this current document are RGB, and that's how I want to do it for this demonstration. So I'm just going to save this all now and pretend that I'm happy. There's no issues at all. Oh, by the way, one thing to double check, if you have your images placed into InDesign and then after the fact you go ahead and move one of those images. So let me just take maybe this yellow image here for example. If I go and move that image now, it's going to break the link. So if I go up to where that image is located, which is somewhere on my desktop here, and I find it, here it is. And if I, let's say, just delete that image from my desktop, or just move it even, I might just move it somewhere else so you can see that it's a small process. I'm just going to put it somewhere outside of that folder onto my desktop. So you can see it's still there on my desktop, but I've moved it. Now if I go back into InDesign, you can see a little red alarm or alert signal here under the links panel. That's now telling, InDesign is telling me that this link has been broken to the image. It's gone. So we don't want that to happen. If you get any alarms in here, or if you look down the bottom of your InDesign panel, in the pre-flight sort of warning box here, you'll see currently a red light, one error. And if I click on that, go to pre-flight panel, it'll show me this little error palette. If I click down there, one missing link, there it is, it's on page 5, and you can click on it and go to it, and here we go. So all you have to do is relink it. So go back to your links panel, have the image selected, go down here to the chain, and we're going to now go and search for it again. So I go to my desktop, there it is on my desktop, click OK, it's updated the link and it's now back to shipshape. So before you create your export, before you export your PDF, make sure you've got no errors in your pre-flight panel or in your links panel. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to now export. So I'll just save that. I'm going to go up here, go to File, Export, and at this point, I'll just call it Test Photo Book, no conversion. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to an Adobe PDF print, PDF, and click Save. But I'm not going to convert the colors, the color space. So high quality print PDF at the top is what we want to select. That's the highest quality. That means it's going to retain as much image resolution as is required. If I go down to compression, you can see it's keeping the image quality at maximum, and the bicubic downsampling or the compression is basically not going to do anything. It's not going to compress anything that's less than 300 pixels per inch, which is what we want. Then if I go down here to output, you can see it says color conversion, no color conversion. So it's going to leave the colors or the color space of my images exactly the same. So if I click export, it's going to pump out that PDF. Here's a copy of it now. And if I flick through, I'll just go and view it in two-page display. If I flick through, you can see there's all my images. It's all looking pretty good. The trouble is, though, it hasn't been converted. So these images are still kind of presented or embedded as RGB files. So what we'll do is we'll go back to InDesign and I'll do another export. But in this one, I'm going to do a conversion. So I'll change the file name to conversion. And I'll put it on the desktop next to the other one. It's still formatted as an Adobe PDF print. I'll hit save. Go up here. It's still a high quality print preset. But if I go down to output now, I'm going to click here and go to convert to destination, preserve numbers. And what that's doing is it's giving me a destination option here. So those options, again, these are the kind of presets that your printer would supply to you. But if you're not sure, you can just pick the most kind of general one, which will be probably the first one that's preset into your PDF options panel once you click convert to destination. So there we go. Now, if you hit export now, you'll see that when that pops up, it's taking a bit longer than the other one. That's probably the conversion process itself. So if I now go to page display, two-page view, this is the photo book conversion, and this is the non-conversion one. Now, I wonder if you can see the difference at all. It's a bit hard to tell when it's taking so long to load. Very hard to tell. But what we'll do, we're going to open these in Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat, and we're just going to see what they're looking like. So I'll just close down the other Acrobat reader or Adobe reader. I'm going to open Acrobat. I'm going to open those two files from my desktop and just see what the difference is. So here they are. Here's the two PDFs. Now, this one here is the no conversion, and this one here is the conversion. There's a slight difference in the color of the blue sky especially, but it's very hard to tell. But let's do a pre-flight check in Acrobat Pro. So if you go to edit and go down to pre-flight, you get this fantastic options panel. And on there, basically this gives all the different presets that you'll need. If you click on the destination, so in this case it's probably going to be printed, let's say, at a digital printer. So you click on there, and if you click on for color, because it's going to be color, you can see that I could then analyze this, and it's going to give me any issues. So it's done a quick analysis, and if I open up the overview tab and go down to images, you can see that these are all CMYK profiles, CMYK. Now if I go back to the PDF version that was not converted, so in other words I left it as RGB, and if I do the same analyze function down here, it's giving me some issues. The issues, pre-flight profile found the following warnings. So what are the warnings? These color images are still RGB. So we need them to be CMYK to make sure that the printer won't have any issues. This pre-flight panel is basically to protect the printing process from any issues. So what we can do at this point, if you haven't converted or haven't clicked the correct output function as we did earlier when you sent your PDF out of InDesign. If you didn't convert then to from RGB to the destination printer, then you can do it now. So all you do is go back to the profiles, and we're just going to analyze and fix, and it's going to ask you to save it as a slightly different PDF. Let's call it fix PDF. I'll put it on the desktop, and it's going to create a new version of all that. And now we're in the fix one. If I go up in here and have a look, if I analyze this now, you can see that there are no issues. Preflight found the following information, but there's no issues. And if I click on overview, click on images, they're all converted to CMYK.